Let's answer some frequently asked questions from teacher sellers about selling on Teachers Pay Teachers in 2023. I am so excited to dive into some of these questions. There are a lot of questions, and many of them are questions that a lot of teacher entrepreneurs have in this space. And so I'm excited to answer many of them for you guys today. So the first one is about marketing. How do you successfully market your business? Well, I did a podcast not too long ago about 8 to 10 different ways that you can market your Teachers Pay Teachers business for free. But just to list a few: YouTube, podcasting, Instagram, Facebook groups, Pinterest, so many more ways. Email marketing, of course, blogging. The list goes on, and I quite literally covered every single one, pros and cons from each one. And I'm going to link to that right up here. You can click that banner right there and you can go watch that video if you would like. You'll also find it down inside of the description if you want to watch it after you've finished watching this video. I think the most successful way to market yourself, though, is going to be the way that you're going to stick with. So if I know that blogging is something that I would enjoy and that I would stick with it, then blogging is going to be a really successful way for me to market my business. Same for Instagram, social media, things like that. The one non-negotiable that I would say every teacher entrepreneur should be doing is email marketing. And that, I know most people are going to tell you that because it is the highest converting form of online marketing, but I really do believe it. I believe that everybody should be at least working towards getting that email list going or have plans to get it going very soon. Email marketing is definitely the way to go. So on that note, Sarah asks inside of our Facebook group, what are my thoughts on starting an email list if you don't have a blog or website yet? I don't have a blog. I don't have a website. I have a large email list, and I have been really successful with email marketing. Last year alone in 2022, I earned over $50,000 from my email list alone. So without a blog, without a website. So yes, should I have blogs and websites? Would those things help me? Absolutely, they would. But you don't have to have them in order to have a successful email list. If you want to learn more about getting your email list going and marketing your email list when you don't have a blog or a website, I cover this inside of my email marketing course inside of Rebranded Teacher Academy, because again, I don't have a blog or a website, so I share with you ways that you can grow your email list without either one of those. So Your Spanish Studio asks about business and money. So what does it cost to start your store? And then what percentage of your investments should you be reinvesting back into your business? I do feel like this is going to be different for everybody depending on what stage you're in. In the very beginning, I'm very much in favor of taking a very conservative approach when it comes to investing in your business, because you don't know how long it's going to take to get that money back, especially when you're still learning. Like, yes, should you invest in things that are going to teach you how to do it correctly? Yeah, absolutely. But should you be hiring a virtual assistant? Should you be hiring curriculum writers? Like, should you be running Facebook ads? Those things, I would say for the vast majority of people, the answer would be no. But when it comes to investing, you still need to be investing in your business. So I would say early on, the things that you should pay for would be like maybe a small low-cost course for how to get your TPT store started. Those can be really helpful because it can help you avoid some of the major pitfalls. It can help you start earning money faster and just kind of get you off the ground a whole lot quicker. Like, for example, I sell the course Selling 101, that's $24, right? So investing something that's going to be small, that's not going to be like detrimental to your budget or going to be a major investment for you before you started making money, I think could be really beneficial and could be really helpful. But there's a lot of good free content out there for new teacher authors if you take advantage of it. So listening to podcasts, being part of Facebook groups, asking questions, having conversations, you can learn from all of that. There are a lot of people who are willing to teach you things that they know for free. And so you don't have to spend money on a course when you're first starting. It's not necessary. You can learn as you go. And that's how I did it. That's how most TPT sellers did it, I think. So you absolutely don't feel like you need to spend a lot of money. I have covered this a little bit before, but there are some things in the very beginning that I definitely would pay for, like PowerPoint, your software that you're going to be creating resources on, going ahead and purchasing clip art. I know a lot of times people want to kind of get around that. They don't want to purchase their clip art or fonts or anything. And I'm not saying that you have to have paid clip art or you have to have paid fonts, but I do see people a lot of times trying to use free commercial use clip art, and they're having to like piece together a little from this artist and a little from this artist because it's all free, and they're trying not to spend money on it, which is okay, but it can make your products not look as cohesive because you're sourcing clip art from multiple different places. So Personally, a whole pack of clip art is like $10. I would just buy the clip art and think of all the different ways that I can use that clip art and all the different types of products that I could make with it, and really stretch that clip art set as much as I can in the beginning. And then money that you need to keep your shop working and growing. I think 5% is a really great place to start, even if you're brand new, just taking 5% of your earnings and putting it aside in a savings account. So even if you're only making like $100 a month, taking that $5, putting it back, eventually it will amount to something. So maybe you get 6 months in and you're making $300 a month, and then you're putting $15 back. Or you get to the end of the year and you have maybe, $200. You could take that $200 and you could make an investment for your business. I mean, that's a printer, or maybe that's hiring someone to do a small task for you, or maybe it's having your logo designed or something like that. So taking that money and setting it aside, even when it's not very much in the beginning, can over time lead to you being able to make a more significant purchase inside of your business that will help you grow. So that's definitely something to consider. And I think 5% is a doable amount for most people. But that 5% is not factoring in things that you need on a regular basis, like clip art, fonts, programs, things like that. Those are just upfront costs, and that you're going to be deducting from your earnings. That 5% is additional on top of that you're able to kind of set aside for a rainy day, or you're able to set aside specifically for some of those bigger purchases that you may not be able to pay for upfront. Let's talk about your ideal customer. There were a lot of questions about ideal customer and niche. First, it's like, how do you know who your ideal customer should be? I think one of the best ways to start with figuring out who your ideal customer is, if you're not sure who they're going to be, and by ideal customer, I mean like, who are you creating products for? Are you creating them for a 6th grade ELAR teacher who really struggles with getting her students to write? Or are you marketing to a 6th grade ELAR teacher who really just needs quick, no prep, print and go activities to do with her students to help them practice some basic skills? The types of resources that you're going to create for those teachers are going to be different. Will there be some overlap? Absolutely there will be, but your overall focus and goal for the resources that you're creating are going to be different based on that teacher's needs. So really knowing who your ideal customer is and creating resources for them is important for building that cohesive brand and for creating a store full of resources that is going to all appeal to the same type of buyer. So a really great place to start, if you don't know who your ideal customer is starting with yourself, because you know you. And in the very beginning, when you're creating resources and you're not getting any kind of market feedback in terms of like, this is selling and this is why teachers love it, or this is selling and this is what they didn't like, having that ideal customer be yourself can help you kind of really ground yourself in terms of like, what do I want as a teacher? What was I looking for? What did I need that I wasn't able to find? And what types of resources appeal to me? And what specifically am I going to Teachers Pay Teachers for? And so answering those types of questions about yourself, creating resources for yourself, and beginning with you as an ideal customer is usually a really good place to start, because then once you have that in place, over time, when you're creating that cohesive brand and those resources start to sell, then you can always adjust and make shifts and changes to who that ideal customer is as you start to see who's purchasing from you, why they love your resources, and you're getting that market feedback. On that note, Melissa asks, is it possible to be too niche? Meaning, is it possible for me to have an ideal customer that maybe there aren't very many people like them, right? I niche down too far, I make my ideal customer too specific, and then nobody wants to purchase my resources. And I think that there are a lot of people who would say, no, like you niche down and then niche down some more. I am not in favor of that, and I'll tell you why. It's a gamble. I see people a lot of times who will niche down. They know specifically who they're creating for, and they make big money straight away. Their business explodes. It's incredible for them. I also see people who niche down a lot, and then they realize that there's nobody to purchase. There's no buyers in that niche, or the buyers are so few and far between that they're never going to be able to meet their long-term business goals with the current buyer pool that there is for that really niche. So I think sometimes you're taking a risk. Are these resources that I'm creating going to fill a major gap in the market, or is there a major gap in the market because the buyers aren't there? So it could be either or, right? I did a workshop in 2021 called 5 Days to a 5K Product Line. And one of the things that I had everybody do was to go to the market and see, is the type of product that I want to create, is it already selling? And I'm not saying like, I want to create task cards or task cards already selling. We're not copying anybody. That's not the goal. But like the types of resources that I want to create, are they already selling? Is there already a market for those products? And if the answer is no, then I need to have my own audience to drive my own traffic to TPT. If people are not currently purchasing those resources from TPT, then people are not purchasing those resources from TPT, which means that I cannot expect that the buyer market is going to be there for those products when I don't see any evidence for that. So if you're in a niche and you're sold on French drama resources, then absolutely go ahead and do it. But just know that it can be a very long game and you may not have the same earning potential as someone who creates ESL resources for a second grade teacher, right? The two are not equal. They're not going to have the same earning potential because there's not the same number of buyers for French drama resources as there is for a second grade ESL teacher. Does that make sense? So you either need to bring your own audience into the equation and drive your own traffic to those products, or you need to know that it's going to be a very long haul and you may have to do a lot of digging to find people to purchase your products. The other thing about this is that if you niche down so far, it becomes really difficult to find people to partner with. So if I'm that French drama resource creator, how many other French drama sellers are there out there? Like how many other people are creating these types of resources that I can partner with? Probably very, very few. Once I find them, will they even be willing to partner with me? So look around and see if it's a barren market, that could be gold mine, right? If it's a barren market, it could mean that it's already been mined. People already came in and realized there's nothing there and they left. So it could be one or the other. Just know that that's kind of what you're walking into if you niche down too far. So the specific thing that Melissa asked about was an IB program that's a college level program taught at high schools around the world. In that case, you would probably be okay. I'm not going to tell you that it has the same earning potential as that second grade teacher because obviously there are fewer people who are teaching that. But if it's taught in high schools around the world, then you may have a pretty good chance because you know that there are people who are going to be looking for those resources. But just go do some digging and go look around before you niche down that far. Another thing that you can do is if you have a super niche that you're really passionate about, is you could have a broad niche and then you can have like a little subsection within your store for those really niche topics. And it could be a piece of what you do, but not all of what you do. So that way you're not locked in to that one super niche that may not make you the same amount of money. So yes, have a niche. Yes, know who your ideal customer is, but don't make that ideal customer so specific that you've limited your buyer pool down to a size that's less than the money that you want to make. Lastly, Kristen asks, what shift can we make in this era of massive inflation? I think this is a really, really good question. One of the shifts that I've made in my store in recent years is to offer low-cost products. We're seeing right now, the data on TPT says that teachers are buying, but they're buying lower ticket items. So the cost of the average purchase in my store has gone down over the last couple of years. So before, my goal was to have higher ticket items available in my store to purchase and not just have a bunch of $3 and $4 resources. And so I started creating a curriculum so that I had something that was more robust to add to my store. And while the curriculum is still selling, I'm not saying that it's not selling, I am seeing that there are a lot of people who are buying like the individual lessons because they're low cost versus purchasing the higher ticket, like the entire unit as a whole. I also see I have a dollar spot in my store, and I'm not saying that you should have a dollar spot. I feel like you can have one. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I don't think that every store needs a dollar spot. I think that if everybody did that, it would eventually, we would kind of run into a problem. But having a specific line of products that are low cost can be a really effective long-term strategy. So within that dollar spot, I have resources that are not underpriced. Like these are not underpriced resources. They're just bite-sized resources. So it's like one maze activity, or it's like one printable maze, like with 8 problems on it, or it's a set of task cards, but it's only 8 task cards. So not the traditional like 30 or 35 task cards. So they're bite-sized products at a bite-sized price. And I have found that there are a lot of teachers who will purchase those, and they'll purchase multiples of them because they feel like they're getting a good deal, but they feel like they can purchase a lot of small resources to kind of help engage their students and offer things to their students, provide something new without it costing them a lot of money. So I know for sure for me, that's what I'm doing is I'm moving into looking at like, yes, I still want to offer bundles. Yes, I still want to offer higher ticket items, but I do want to make sure that I'm creating resources that are going to be affordable. And so I'm no longer thinking about like I used to try to hit the $4 mark with my products. Now I'm looking more towards like the $3 mark whenever I'm creating these new resources, or kind of even on the lower end. Instead of beefing up my products, I'm kind of simplifying them a little bit more. So I've got a line of resources that I'm actually working on this week that are going to come out. And I was weighing in my mind, do I want this to be, say, a $2.50 resource where I have 2 different graphs with 9 problems or 9 equations that would be graphed, and those go in a set? Or do I split it up and just say, no, I'm just going to do one graphing activity within the set and charge $1.50 for it? And I ended up going with the charge $1.50 and not beef it up, because I know that there are a lot of teachers who would appreciate being able to do that activity with their student for only $1.50. And while many would purchase at that $2.50 mark and enjoy having more problems and more to the activity, I want to be able to offer a product that more teachers are going to be able to afford or justify the cost of. Making sure that you have a wide range of pricing for different teachers and for different budgets, I think is going to be really, really important. And it also helps with marketing because I can get people into my store if they know they only have to spend $2. And even when they get there, they may spend way more than $2, right? Having those things that you can advertise that will get people into your store, get them to follow your store, and get them to make those purchases. And then when they go to Teachers Pay Teachers and they've made that low cost investment in your product and they're searching for something else and they're willing to spend $5 or they're willing to spend $10, they're willing to purchase some of the higher ticket items, then when they come and they do their search, you're more likely to pop up now with personalized search because they've already made a purchase from you. So that to me, I think is really important when we're talking about the economy and the way that things are headed, is making sure that you have a wide range of price points available for different people. All right. Thank you so much for being here. If you have a question that you would like to submit, drop inside the Facebook group and ask away. Or if you have questions, you can come ask them at Teacher Seller Summit, where we're going to have a whole panel of TPT experts, diversifying your income streams experts, social media, email marketing experts, and you can ask an entire panel of experienced teacher business owners how they are doing things and the decisions that they're making inside of their business that's leading to a more profitable business for them. You don't want to miss it, and you can get your early bird ticket right now through the end of April for only $75. That gives you 90 days of access to all of the content, access to the private podcast, and so much more. Don't wait on this because the price will go up on May 1st. It will be $99. So go ahead and grab that from the link down inside of the description. Thanks so much for being here, you guys, and I hope to see you at Teacher Seller Summit.